also that expanded sense of understanding about being completely connected to creativity, creation, and that consciousness of the collective that we understand through philosophy, and also beauty and wisdom. It talks about how to come into that, and it's from a place of spiritual understanding, spiritual intelligence. And so there's a kind of alchemy about reading the book in which you can find a connection and transform. So the alchemy archetype is about making something out of nothing. It's about transformation, and it's about finding your peace as well. And it's an inner peace, it's a tranquility, it's a place of bliss. And so once you completely connect into that, it's then how do you nurture it and how do you make it work for yourself. Now, a lot of people that walk into a spiritual experience or become spiritual through life experience find themselves on quite an intimate journey, but also quite a lonely journey. It's quite sort of, how did I get here? What caused me to be this person? And who else is here? And often you find there aren't that many people. But we're really lucky that in this community there's quite a lot of people that are spiritual and also are quite mindful and also very loving and embracing. And in our little world we've developed that, and we put quite a strong focus in communicating with each other and nurturing each other through healing. And then we have like the Be Well Centre, which operates on a Monday, that Val Stoner is a founder, she's here. There's a few other people. Kate was chair until recently. And Maggie does her healing from there. And so there's a consistency to enabling the community at large to expand, to develop and to grow. And these values are held by certain people, including you, Sophia, and Margaret and Caroline, all the way amongst us. And it's kind of like lights, beacons shining all the way around the community, which takes away some of that feeling of how did I get here, what caused me to be there. But then there's the other problem: how do you make your life work? How does work work? How do you become an entrepreneur with the spiritual values? How do you relate to materialism? How do you relate to your creativity without sort of losing your grounding or losing touch with what's important? And so this book is very much about helping people that have walked out that journey, who have found themselves on that path, and then sort of almost needing to ground and look at, well, how do I make this work? How do I make this work for me? And so it looks at spiritual intelligence and philosophy and helps you to sustain a standard of living that is creative and spiritual and nurturing and nourishing. And while you still grow, develop, and you still communicate to the community to create a communion. So this word communion is really important. It's about union in the community, and it's about having a sacred understanding of each other and relating on that deeper level of soul, so that you're relating into the oneness that we all are. So by being interconnected as one, and by understanding that interaction, you sort of are able to function in a way that is very life-giving and very, it enables a high performance because you're connected to everything that is, and it's okay to be that person. And because it's deeply accepted, it means that you function even better. Because a lot of the hurdles and the interference is because there's a lack of understanding around that kind of person, that holistic kind of way of going on. Now, in the book also, I talk about the history of that. I talk about how things change and how new we are to being understood and accepted, mainly because of historical reasons. A big thing that happened in the 1950s was that Churchill changed the law to allow holistic peoples to practice and to be able to be widely understood. But then we had a kind of quite a big extraction from the community of holistic people for maybe 400 or 500 years, where they were persecuted one way or another. And that issue is still something that in slowly changing and developing. But of course we don't carry that issue so much, or people have to walk through that issue to find out where they belong in their selves and in the community. But they still need help to get to that place where they're not feeling that resistance, where they're not feeling that sense of isolation, where they're not feeling kind of disconnected from the world. for me, being a spiritual person and a philosophical person gives me a very deep connection to myself in my relationship with myself and to people that I relate to. So I have quite deep relationships on all levels. And that sort of ability to have a deep relationship with the self and to nurture that and to have it understood by others, where you might have past life memories or you might share your understanding on a much deeper level than just this moment. It needs a bit of space of understanding, it needs emotional space, it needs a kind of context. And again, this book deals with some of that aspect. It's not a book that you would just read from cover to cover, it's one that you dip into and then put down for a bit and then reflect on and then come back. But it is a good kind of guide to have near you and to have it reach so that you can look at your hurdles and look at what's going on, and there's lots of meditations in helping build up that experience and helping to get to a place where you do feel that you're completely in control of what you're doing, where you're going and your path, based on the values that you as an individual want to live by, and work out what is important to you. And there's lots of questions in here that help you to go through journeys within yourself, in your own inner relationship, to work out exactly what it is you're trying to bring to the world, bring to yourself, create in your reality. And then our realities are specifically created by us. So, we have to self-reflect to know what it is we want to bring out to the wider world. And so in that process of journey and questioning and through the reading of the book, we get to a point where we move from the individual out beyond the community into the global community, and we start to relate on an international level to the globe. And so it's really that expansion that we're talking about, of going from the sense of individual that may have some ego issues, may have problems in trying to relate because of the journey being isolated, maybe because it's a strange experience to suddenly arrive in your depth of soul and relate to the world from that. But then beyond it, there is community, and then there's the global experience. And so it all is a very kind of tidy kind of journey, but it does need a little bit of nurture, care and attention. And it's not the easiest thing to go through either. But luckily in this community and wider, we have a lot of people that are on that journey, and so it's really a blessing. And I'm really grateful for all the people that have supported me and been with me and sort of come to St Catherine's and come to these art events and the Chelsea Fringe events, and we've had 3 or 4 this week. 4 this week, this is the 4th, and so it's been quite a big week. But that's mainly with the Chelsea Fringe stuff. This is the last one, and so it will be, it's the last moment within the last one as well. We'll just go on into dinner, and then we'll do the open mic and drumming. But it's a good celebration, and it's a really beautiful thing to be a part of. So thank you, everyone. So I think we have some cake. It's here. That's so sweet. Thank you very much.
Can we just say a huge thank you to Amanda for all that she does for St Catherine's and the community, for her amazing work here today. It's been so fantastic, and the launch of her book. Thank you, Amanda, for all that you do for us.
Thank you, Claire. So now, if you'd like to have another drink, and also we'll go and have some food next door, and that's a shared feast. And then the open mic and the drumming is after that in the reception room. So it's right at the front of the house. We've chosen that room because it's got a big log fire. So when